One of the hardest things about being a service-based business owner is figuring out what to say and how to talk about yourself so that clients are drawn to you and ready to book with you. Today, I have Marisa Corcoran here to give us the lowdown on brand messaging and what to say. Hey, I'm Emily Reagan, and I train virtual assistants how to be highly prized, highly paid marketing assistants. It's the same work I have done for over 13 years as a freelancer. And I love marketing because it gives you the ultimate flexibility. It lends itself to project rates. And it's also value based. Clients will pay you more than admin work. They value the work you're doing because you're bringing in leads and sales. You can get away with higher profit margins. And I just love that. I also love the variety, the creativity, the analytics of it. I love it all. So here on this YouTube channel, I'm dedicated to helping you level up your service-based business, especially if you offer marketing services. Get better at your services, get better at your branding, your positioning, and marketing yourself, and also your client management. That comes a big doozy too. So today's episode is actually a shorter clip of the full-length podcast episode we have over on my show, Unicorns Unite. You can find all of the links you need in the show notes below and click and go listen if you want to know more. I also want to make sure that you grab Marisa's freebie, her 50 plus scroll stopping subject lines. This will help you when you're wondering what to write in a subject line. She gives you the formulas. You can plug it in for your clients if they've left those blanks. It'll help you look smart and it will help you get your emails open. Way more important, right? Don't put all this effort into writing an email that doesn't get open. Grab that freebie below. And last but not least, every so often, Marisa brings back her Leave Them Wanting More masterclass. I want to make sure you don't miss out. You can sign up with the link below. This is a really good class to start nailing your messaging. There's interaction, there's feedback. I think you'll really like it. Make sure you don't miss the next live one that she hosts. And before we jump in, Marisa is an actor turned copywriter turned founder of the Copy Confidence Society. And you might have attended her Copy Chat Summit that she also does annually. Very well known in this space, very good at messaging, very good at copy. I brought her here on the show to talk about brand messaging. So many service providers get stuck with what to say, how to articulate their services and the value they provide, especially so that clients are willing to pay their prices. So this is going to be a very helpful episode for you to nail your personality, figure out what to say, and be able to attract your dream clients. If you already know you need to level up in copywriting, you want the feedback sessions, you want access to Marisa's template so you can whip out sequences and sales pages with no problem, please use the link below to sign up for the Copy Confidence Society. I would hate for you to waste years working out bad messaging and not working with dream clients. And again, this also can apply to your own marketing services that you offer. You can start calling yourself a copywriter, all that jazz. Let's jump into some messaging. And our service providers, especially a lot in the work group, I'm calling you out. They are not doing some of the marketing assets they need to be doing for themselves because this copywriting and this messaging and knowing how to stand out is really the sticking point. And so that's why I brought you here on the show to really help somebody get kickstarted here when, okay, we do that messy startup thing. We take on our clients, we gain the clarity, and now we're like, light bulb. I know what I want to do. I've gotten clarity on who I want to serve. Now what? So help us out with that.
Okay. The now what translates to how do you then create like a what I do statement that is clear and specific from there. So now you have an idea that, okay, maybe I recognize that I can't help everyone, or I recognize that there's a specific skill or area that I want to focus on. How do we turn that into your messaging? And there are 4 P's to crafting what we call your uncopyable message: person, product, purpose, and perspective. In an ideal place, maybe all 4 of those would be super defined, but they don't have to be. And I think this is usually where people get tripped up in messaging, is they feel like they have to be so specific within an inch of their life. And that's not what we're going for, because your message is always going to evolve, right? So really looking at one of those P's and saying, could I get more specific on one of those P's? You know, if you're out there and you're listening, saying, okay, if I look at my own messaging right now, is there one of those P's, the person, the product, the purpose? Those are the 3 that we kind of look at. Maybe 1 or 2 of them might get more specific, but even if we can just get more specific on one of them, that can really step you up into being that specialist in a sea of generalists. where now it makes it very easy for people to remember you. I would say the 3 R's, that people will remember you, rave about you, and refer you. So we often use that P of perspective to see, does that inform our messaging at all? Do we have something from our own life or our own skill set that can strengthen those other 3 P's?
So where do people kind of like mess up this part?
If you're out there and you're listening and one of two things either happens is, first you might go, oh, well, I mean, I could help people, it's hard for me to narrow in. Like, I could help people do this, or I could help people do this, or I could help people do this. Are you ready to kind of take that leap and be that specialist in a sea of generalists? And sometimes people just need that support to make that tweak to say, yeah, I'm going to be that person. But sometimes people may have a couple of things and they're not ready to kind of just choose one of them. And that's where we can look at what are some of those possible like outcomes or things that you support people with. So let's say, for example, you were somebody that supported people with, their visibility, but there were multiple ways that maybe it was like helping them get on podcasts or helping them get in the media, or maybe even introducing them to like a book agent person. Like, you're just like, I don't know which one of those I want to hone in on just yet, but I know I have a skill set there and I've helped people do those things. So that's where we can combine them. I call that the throuple. You give an example, tie it up with the overall like visibility or what it means. And that's like your throuple. So that can help people where they're like, well, I help people. There's multiple outcomes. There's multiple results here. So, okay, we go, all right, let's pick 2 of them and then wrap it up in what it overall is. So you don't feel so confined by it. And that is usually really, really helpful for people.
You're talking about the evolution. I definitely started off pretty slow, but I always knew I didn't want to be generic. But once I got it, and that's when my business took off. So this is why we're having this chat with you, because it is so freaking important. And I don't want anyone else to do what I did.
Yep.
And like take too long. So it's like, it's such gold.
I think the same thing also happens when it comes to the personality in your copy. So I always say people make purchasing decisions based on 2 things. One is what you're selling, something that I want or I need. That's your message. We just talked about that. This is how you stand out in that sea of sameness. This is how you start to crack through into being that specialist in a sea of generalists. The second way that people make purchasing decisions is, are you the person I want to do it with? Do I get a sense of your voice, your vibe, your values, right? And this matters a lot, especially if you consider yourself somebody, even if you've cracked through to that specialty and you still feel like you're in that, in a saturated market where you still feel like there's a lot of people who do what you do. How do you break out of that kind of place of feeling in competition with people, but feeling in collaboration with people? And that's where infusing personality into your copy can really also help you stand out. It's also extremely important because it's a very client-focused thing to do as well, so that people really get a sense of what it's going to be like to work with you. So we created a system to help people do this, because again, I could just say like, okay, Emily, like, just go have more personality. Best of luck today. Where people are like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
So we created a system called the Copy Stars. They are the hooker with a heart of gold, the relentless cheerleader, the nerdtastic leader, the quirky misfit, or the red hot trailblazer. The cool thing about this is that you can be a combo, you can be a triplet. I even tell people, go ahead and make up your own. The whole point here is to help you actually create a barometer for yourself, so that when you feel like you're dipping into that sea of sameness, you have a way to call yourself back. So there's very specific things about each copy star that people usually see themselves in. And then from there, they can create their copy star or a combo. And then there's these other exercises that we do to help you then create what we call the like you on one page, that helps you have like some of your like keywords and phrases, what that go-to personality looks like for you, where you might already be using it in your copy, where you need to infuse more of it.
I love this tip you shared about the word bank, because I think if I could go back, I would have been paying attention to my words as I prepare for this moment. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do inside of the Copy Stars module is this thing called crafting your word closet. So that's really starting to look at the words and phrases. So again, not in your business life, people that you text, people that you email, start to look at like, are there things that you say all the time, or a cadence that you have when you like, text somebody? I would say if you have kids, think about what they say to you, because it's likely they're repeating things that you say to them. That's your word closet. At the same time, you can also have what's called your accessories closet. So just making a list of like your favorite things. You don't have to know how you'll use them. Your favorite cookie, your favorite TV show. It doesn't matter. You can just take some of those generic phrases and start to infuse from our word closet, our accessories closet, to let our personality shine a bit more.
Okay, I have two thoughts here. One, this is exactly why I said I evolved and just like practiced and talked and like things got clear. So like permission to do that if you're listening. Also, I learned a lot. I'm very anti-establishment by hearing what I don't like. And so when I see something or someone said something, I'm like, why does that piss me off? Why does that get like it gets my head spinning? Then I get clarity on what I actually am or what I stand for.
I love this. We talk about this a lot, Emily, actually, in the society. So you want to have like your hit list, like the things that you're celebrating in your niche or things that you're drawn to, and you want to have your shit list, your hit list and your shit list. So what do you want to celebrate in your niche? What do you want to celebrate? And what do you want to call BS on, right? What makes you, like you said, kind of turn and go a different way? That really matters too. Being able to have a list of things in your niche that you're like, I don't agree with that. Contrary to like, popular opinion, I don't like this. What is that thing? And can you talk about it in your copy, which just brings your voice, your vibe to the forefront.
Yeah, and I think I almost need the opposite of a word closet too, like a Goodwill bag in the back of my closet that is like the trash words. Like if I have another teammate, everyone listening, if I hear you call something amazing one more time, I'm going to lose it. Like that is like the worst adjective. So stop using that word.
When I was a done for you copywriter, this is how the word closet was created, because I would write it out kind of generically, and then I would take their word closet and I would sub out things like amazing, exciting with things that they said. So I love that, Emily, having your Goodwill, like things we are not wearing, we are not using anymore.
And everything you talked about today is being memorable. Even the way you purse out your lessons and your themes and, what did you call like the hooker with a heart of gold, which like no one will ever forget that like once they hear it. And they might not remember your name. They might not remember the Copy Confidence Society, but they'll remember that lady.
But they'll remember that I am the hooker. And that's how the copy stars are kind of created, because I am the hooker with a heart of gold.
This has been so fun. You have a good freebie for everyone listening. Tell us what that is.
I do. So when we talk about, putting personality and messaging together, my favorite place to do that is in my emails. Emails is like, I always say, if everything went away tomorrow, if I have my email list, I'm golden. That's my place. And I really want to encourage people to start to infuse that solid messaging and personality into their emails. So I always say you can write the best email, but if you don't have a great subject line, like how does it get opened? So I created this really great resource that I think your listeners will really love, called the 50 plus scroll stopping subject lines. There's over 50 subject lines to choose from. They can also double for hooks, like at the beginning of a social post. And there's 3 different formulas to choose from. And then I pair those with a few full length emails so that you can see how it all goes together, how the personality comes together, how the subject line connects to what's inside of the resource. So that's a really great resource to just, as you're writing, to use, that can help you with your subject lines. And also you can use it at the beginning of a social post as well too.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that's where a lot of clients, when they were giving me the email, would forget to do the subject line and ask for my help. So it's nice to have that as a reference. More on Unicorns Unite. We cover the I do statements. We talk about the writing personalities, the word closets. Where should you start if you are just now ready to step into the limelight and start promoting yourselves? What should you be doing now to prepare for that? And Marisa's tips on being better with your brand messaging. I'll see you in the next episode, but before you go, hit subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss another video. I'm here to help you level up and improve your business so you're making good profits, you're attracting good clients, you're not having to work more hours. And so much of it comes down to your boundaries, the quality of your services, and how you present yourself. If you found this YouTube video helpful, love to hear a comment below. And if you're just getting started in this online space, I have a freebie for you with my top 10 marketing services where I started before I went into copywriting. This would be a great place if you're wondering, how can I make a little extra money? What do clients actually need? It'll give you a lot of good ideas. And again, it's exactly what I did starting out as a new marketing assistant. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.